I am super excited to talk to you today about making money. That's what we talk about here on the channel. But to be honest, there was a point really not too long ago where I went from making a decent amount of money every year to flat out broke. This isn't pretend broke. This is like -$500, -$700 in my bank account, missed rent payments, missed credit card payments. And frankly, I do not want you to go through the same thing. That's why in this video, I'm going over 6 really honestly brutal lessons that I learned from being completely broke. But hey, if this is the first time that you and I are meeting, my name is Mike. And again, it's my job here to help you just make money, whatever it is, whatever your goal is per month. Let's say 3K, 5K, or now I'm scaling an online business that's generating $10,000 a month. So if you want a piece of that, if you want to build your own side hustle or full-time hustle, building and scaling your own online business yourself, then this is the best place to do it. So welcome. Let me know in the live chat or in the comment section where you're watching from. And I'm just going to throw you a curveball here on this holiday weekend or whenever you're watching this video. Something a little bit different here. Check this out. Who is this? Who is this character and what does this have to do with making money? Who is this guy? Let us know in the live chat or the comment section. Well, this is the Nickelodeon character SpongeBob, of course. But again, what does SpongeBob teach us about making money? Well, I'm gonna tell you a quick story here. My mom, whose birthday was this past Friday, happy birthday to you, Mom, described SpongeBob, a show that myself and my twin brother, Matt, watched frequently as kids, what have you. One of the OG great Nickelodeon shows. Shout me out if you agree. And my mom described SpongeBob as the eternal optimist. Like everything that's going on in his episodes, he's always happy, he's always positive, he's always the eternal optimist. He's always the kind of, what is it? The glass is half full kind of sponge, we'll say. So with this, having almost that mentality, if you're too positive sometimes, if you're ignoring what, it can really hurt you. And number one, it's ignoring the red flags. And to be honest, I mean, if you're following my journey here of being dead broke, maybe if I'm just honest with myself, I was a little bit too much of a SpongeBob, a little bit too much of an eternal optimist here, just a little too positive. And again, number one, I ignored the red flags. Really ignored the red flags. Let me tell you what I mean here. So I moved from here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, about 3.5 years ago to sunny San Diego, California. And I worked for a startup and they really were in the kind of the healthy, kind of the fitness space, which I really liked. And I was super pumped. It was my first sales job. That's why I moved out there. And I was starting something new, but I ignored a lot of the red flags of what was actually happening with that business. And I mean, I don't know, maybe I thought, the business was kind of cool. It was a startup. I'm like, all right, I'm going to make some good money. I'm in San Diego. We're doing some cool stuff here. I mean, maybe it actually looked like this, right? I mean, it wasn't the coolest of spots. It was kind of in like, I don't even know, a business incubator space. It was a small little narrow office. We had maybe like 8 or 9 employees. I don't know, right? But what I was doing was I was ignoring the red flags, and you cannot do this when it comes to your money. That's why number one is, you can't be that eternal optimist. You have to really, unfortunately, come to terms with the real world and be more of a realist. So what started happening? What are the red flags when it comes to my money? And again, we're talking about if you're seeing any of these 6 things happen today, there may be really a downward trend that you need to address before you get to where I was with negative dollars in your bank account. So, I started to see the monthly balances and my margins decreasing. What do I mean by that? Maybe I'm bringing in whatever it was, let's say $2,500 a month. But with rent, with expenses, with insurance, what have you, I mean, I saw my margin of maybe I netted $200 after all of those expenses. Obviously, that's not enough for discretionary spending. That's not enough for just savings in general. I had really poor margins and they were only decreasing. Nextly, something that you really shouldn't have to do is making hard decisions on necessary items. So I found myself, especially after the ultimate red flag, by the way, that startup going under. They had to close their doors. One day, I got a call before I got to the office and one of my coworkers said, "Hey, the office is closed. I just want to let you know, don't go in today. The office is closed." The CEO, he cleaned up overnight. The computers are gone. The desks are gone, man. The chairs it's all gone, and he liquidated the business. He was not making any money. And I knew this, we knew this, but I was ignoring the red flags as I saw staff come and go. And again, SpongeBob syndrome, man, eternal optimist. But there's even more to that. Check this out. I mean, I know we've had a tough 2020. Honestly, even into 2021, I mean, things aren't ultimately back to normal here. Did you know, based on this Go Bank and Rates survey, a staggering 46% of Americans missed one or more rent or mortgage payments? This is in 2020. And I imagine these stats would be pretty close here in 2021 as well. And that 25% missed more than one. I mean, me ignoring the red flags caused this when that company went under. And I mean, this could have been a result of the pandemic for you. This could have been a result of what we're talking about later, is not diversifying your income. I literally put all of my income eggs in that one basket until that company went under. And I missed a rent payment. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, nothing's more embarrassing, than holding your BA and MBA and then trying to explain to your landlord how the company went under and owes you $4,000. Sob story, doesn't matter, dude, you still owe me rent. And it absolutely hurts. But more so than that, I mean, don't ignore the red flags here. Check this out. What is this? Is this more B-roll? Is this more a cutaway B-roll from some stock photography site? No. This is another red flag that I ignored. I was hurting for money, folks. That company went under. And I was hurting. I ignored. What did I just say earlier? Is if you have to ignore necessary expenses, if you have to make tough decisions over necessary expenses, this was my vehicle. It was my first vehicle I purchased. It was a 2010 Dodge Caliber. And my margins, like we talked about prior, were so low that I had next to zero discretion. Literally, at times, I could only afford $5 to put in that car because of what happened with that company. Because I didn't pay attention to the red flags, is I ignored maintenance and oil change, to be specific. 100% my own fault. And this is a picture of after I literally blew up the engine on the highway, headed to the gym in San Diego. I mean, parts flying out the back, some white smoke kind of coming out of the trunk there. Kind of scary. And it was my fault because I didn't manage my money ultimately. I didn't have a backup plan. And actually, that is our next point that we're going to get into here. Hey, Kevin, I see you in the live chat today. Folks, let me know where you're watching from here. Lee, I see you delivering with Eileen. James, one of our team VIPs. K9, I see you guys in here. Hey, today we're talking about 6 brutal lessons that I learned from being flat broke. I mean, I just said it. Really having $0 to negative dollars in my bank account. And it's because of these 6 things that compiled on top of each other. So please make sure you're not doing the same thing. And if you are getting value in this video, can you definitely do me a favor and hit the like button right now? Now, going back into our mistakes here of ignoring the red flags, impulsive spending. Dude, can I just I'll just come full screen to just admit this to you. I'm a impulsive spender at times. All right. I like to spend money. I mean, that's why I hustle to make money here. I'll be the first to say it. I am prone to impulsive spending. You have to watch those red flags. Do you have 10 boxes shipping to your house with Amazon every day, dude? You might be spending on things you don't need. The missed payments or minimum payments that we talked about. We're going to get into that a little bit later in detail. Overdrafts. I had hundreds of dollars in overdraft fees. And I mean, nothing's more kind of intimidating, looming than the pressure of missed payments. And then you can't afford something, so then they want you to pay even more money. It doesn't make sense, dude. I don't even have the money to begin with, right? It's because you mismanaged your money and I mismanaged my money. And again, we're going to go into some other things here. Nextly, asking others for personal loans. This is a red flag if you're doing this. I mean, I was so low on money, I'm ashamed to admit it, but it was in the tough situation that I was in. Gotta call the parents, gotta call the brother. Hey, can you send me $100? Because I need some money here, dude. And again, to be honest with you, one of the most embarrassing things was I remember I was driving for different, gig economy apps. That's what we talk about here in part, making money with active revenue streams as well as semi-passive. And I got some Chinese. I took a break, pulled over to a little Chinese spot and ordered a quick, bowl to go. Well, my card was declined. And that was shortly after that company went under. And that really set into stone the gravity of not having a backup plan, of, again, putting all my revenue eggs in one basket. And I had to call my bank. It's PNC Bank here. I called back to Pittsburgh. I said, hey, why is my card declined? And I kind of knew why. It's because the company that went under, they owed me about $4,000 of back pay. But dude, come on, you got to have some kind of protection for yourself here. And it was pretty embarrassing. I remember that still. And they were nice enough and let me take it. But come on now. Zero budgeting. It goes back to that impulsive spending. You cannot have zero budget. You can't say, well, I don't really know what my expenses are. I'm just going to buy this because I like it. Right. You get it. We got to move on here. And I do see you in here, and Matt mentions credit cards. We'll do it too. I appreciate you being here, Matt. And we will talk about credit cards a little bit. And yeah, Philly says ramen is your friend. When you're at that point, you're buying the great value chicken, you're making things stretch. You're getting the rice. I get it. So brutal mistake number 2 was not having a backup plan. Going through all of that and literally, not having a backup plan. Look at the fresh numbers. Here is the US job report just from last month. This is fresh data here from 2021. 235,000 jobs added last month. Now, that actually was a bit of a disappointment. There were expectations of about 700,000 jobs potentially being added to the job market here. But like I mentioned earlier, we're hurting from the pandemic. Maybe you have something else, some unexpected expenses, what have you, and if we see the job industry not growing at the pace we really kind of were hoping it was, you got to take charge. You got to take charge of your own income. That's what we talk about here. And if you're not a team member, I invite you to subscribe right now. So a slumping, maybe job market will say, I don't want you to feel like this. I don't want you to have to, feel that pain and the gravity of dude, I just lost 99% of my income because my job fired me. Now you may be like, dude, well, have you been fired? Yeah, I've been fired twice, and not having a backup plan stings versus when I was let go most recently from a sales job that I basically sucked at. I'll say it. I had a backup plan. So I did a video called Thanks for Firing Me. I was completely fine with it because I had a backup plan, because I started paying down some of my debts. So here's an example of what you can do for backup plans. You got to do this, folks. I don't want you to fall into poverty. I don't want you to fall into these brutal mistakes. I don't want you to be dealt these mistakes here that I went through, folks, I mean, this isn't just me making it up. This isn't just me, listening to some audiobooks and just kind of regurgitating. I mean, I was flat broke, missing payments, buying like great value stuff, barely being able to fuel my vehicle broke. Like 500 some credit score broke. So examples of a backup plan. Number one, have the contingency accounts. I know we all know this, but are you doing it? Have at least $1,000, or they say 6 months of expenses saved. And I understand if your margins are tight, if you don't have a lot of money to set aside, we're going to talk about how to remedy that here and how to start building some contingency accounts like this. Have a career backup plan. I mean, how many of us have thought about this? Remember, I said that video, thanks for firing me. Like you can imagine, that's kind of a testy title. Like, what do you do? Like, thanks for firing me. It's because I had career backup plans. Now, folks, actually, I do this full time. For over a year now. I've been on YouTube for 5 years. I do YouTube full time for over about a year and a half now. And by the way, if you're interested in learning how to dominate, build and scale an online business right here on YouTube, that my business is now generating 6 figures online in revenue, I invite you to subscribe to our new channel, Your Driver Mike Creates. Again, that's Your Driver Mike Creates, to learn how to dominate and monetize on YouTube. But having at least a career backup plan. Well, what about networking in place? Market feelers. What do I mean by this? I was just thinking about this yesterday. So, I mean, we all know the power of LinkedIn. We at least know of the website. Well, when's the last time you updated it? Put a nice picture, an updated picture on there. Really had proactive language in there, highlighting your successes, accomplishments, or similar. Have you updated your resume? Do you have that as a backup plan? If you do have something that you need to pivot, is it ready to go? Is it ready to fire off? Or remember, networking in place. They say the more hands you shake, the more money you make. So if you know someone at such and such company who's close friends with a hiring manager, or maybe they're a hiring manager yourself, your resume is already updated. Your LinkedIn's already good to go. You can just fire off that resume. Hey, dude, I just want to let you know, hate reaching out. Well, actually, think about this. The closer you are, the less awkward it is to reach out and ask for assistance. I would always try to provide value, but of course, if something happens, you can mention why you're reaching out. And then nextly, be ready to sell yourself. Quiz time for you. I need you to get involved here. Lean in for this. Like the video if you're getting value. Like the video if you appreciate being a team member and being a part of a supportive community. But it's quiz time for you. I want you to sell yourself in the live chat or the comments section. Right now, tell me why you're good at what you do. Firstly, maybe number one, tell me what you do. Tell me what you want to do. And tell me why you're the best person for it. So have you ever heard this? Why should we hire you? And the quote is from every cliche interviewer ever. But why should we hire you? Sell yourself right now. Sell yourself on what do you do? Why are you the best at it? Right now in the live chat or the comment section. Maybe put on the first word, tell me what you do. I'm a baker, business owner, salesperson, HR. What else? Electrician, plumber, right? Put the first word of what you do, maybe a dash, and sell yourself on it. Let's say in 4 sentences or less. So I'm not just saying this to put pressure on you. And while you're doing that right now, let me just sell myself. I'll tell you a story here. Actually, let's take a sip of coffee here, and I'll look for your comments coming in the live chat or the comment section. That is a wonderful refresh there, folks. So let me tell you a story about selling yourself. So the second sales job that I had in San Diego, it was an inside sales job. Remember the startup company, they went under, I got another sales job, thankfully, because I had, resume in place, what have you. So in that interview, I interviewed with the sales manager and then the assistant sales manager. And I mean, you'll see this in the sales space if you're in the sales industry, is some of them can be kind of gruff, kind of straight to the point, no BS kind of personality. And the sales manager nice guy. I mean, he was basically my age actually, or maybe even younger. But the assistant sales manager was more punchy, more straightforward. And she said, well, you do YouTube. I see you do this YouTube thing. Well, sell me on your channel. Why should I care about your channel, right? And here's my channel. I'm thinking, easy. It is the best place to start or grow a side hustle or a full-time hustle. People need to make money right now. I remember this was before the pandemic, of course. This was maybe, 3-4 years ago at this point. Well, actually, maybe probably 2 or 3 years. So I said, people need to make money. Sure, they could be working a job, what have you, or maybe they don't have a job. People are looking to take charge of their own income, build multiple revenue streams. This is the best place to do it. The videos are edited in a way that there's no fluff. It's constant value. It is a supportive community. The branding is super clean. So you have a very professional look and branding to the channel here. This is the best place. And it's that confidence that will close a sale. And I can tell after saying that I closed her on that point, because it is, in my opinion, the best place. So you're saying things with conviction, but also giving explicit reasons why that thing is what it is. So I had to sell my channel in that experience. Now let's move on here. We mentioned earlier, I saw your comment about credit cards. This is another brutal warning sign that I should have taken note of at the time. So let me show you an example here. So when it comes to credit cards, I had some problems with not having enough cash flow, with not having a backup plan, with maybe impulsive spending. Now, frankly, in my opinion, if you knew my credit card situation at the time, there wasn't a lot of impulsive spending. There was spending because of the move to San Diego, right? New expenses for an apartment, what have you. But when that company went under, I was left high and dry with zero cash flow, still a very expensive rent payment in San Diego. And you can see there right around June of 2019, I started missing credit card payments. And obviously it only got worse. So you can see there 30 days late, 60, 90, 120, and then ultimately a charged off account. So if you're interested in learning more about how I escaped ultimately this credit card debt that peaked at $7,800, check out the card linked above. But, I was feeling the pressure of this credit card debt at a credit utilization of 60%. You really want like 10 to 20%. And this is after I paid off a small settlement before actually settling the charge off with my bank here. And when it comes to not paying the debts, you feel the pressure. There's nothing like knowing it's 30 days late and then 60 and knowing that it is not going away. And then you have that interest on that account, usually until they charge it off. So you're going 3, 6, 9, 120 days and then finally charged off. But keep in mind, during that entire time, your credit score is taking a hit, and it absolutely did. It really tanked because of what happened with that company. So not listening to that and not having the actual funds to maintain that really put the pressure on me. Okay. So let's take a quick time out here. And again, if you are getting value in this video, definitely drop a like. And if you would like to go deeper with us, get access to more unfiltered, raw videos here on a lot of subjects that we cover, exclusive badges, custom emotes as well, different ways to stand out. Consider joining the team as a VIP by clicking the join button down below. So we've talked about problems with being broke, red flags, the maybe impulsive spending, having no backup plan, the credit card debt and not paying that off first, and ignoring the red flags. Now it's time to pivot into actually doing. Let's kind of right the ship, reframe the mindset of, okay, well, I'm going through this myself. How can I right the ship? It feels like you're drowning, dude. Like the pressure of when I wake up tomorrow, that debt's still there. My bank account at negative $500 is still there. The fees from consecutive days at overdraft, or because they hit you with the overdraft and they hit you with consecutive, you get it, right? So let's start writing the ship here. Let me show you this first when it comes to actually debt. Did you know an overwhelming majority of Americans, 67%, say they have taken on some kind of debt, with the largest section being in the $1,000 to $4,999 range at 21%. I think my credit card, that credit card that I showed you that was a charge-off, the interest was like 21%, something around there. It was the low 20s. It's not good. It was basically it was my first credit card. Not a good interest rate. And I see you in the live chat. Ricardo says, I really needed this video, man. I'm in that situation now. And it really does feel hopeless. Ricardo, I appreciate you being here. And hey, guys, if you are feeling like it's hopeless. Now, I'm not a financial expert. This is not legal or official finance advice. You can speak with a financial expert, a financial planner. I mean, even that costs money. I get it. But what I'm trying to do here now, let's go into the reframing here, because I want to show you how I was able to get into the right mindsets and power through this. Because I made a commitment before moving to San Diego that I was going to take charge of my income. In Pittsburgh, I was working customer service. I was lucky enough, really, to have the employer benefits pay 99% of the MBA, Masters of Business Administration. So I'm thankful for that. I mean, you don't need an MBA to do this stuff here, folks. You don't even need a degree to do some of this stuff. For instance, if you can sell. But what I'm trying to say is, how did I go from being locked in to like $42K, which is still a good salary, to wanting to make more, to trying to make more, to failing at making more, because I let go twice after that. The company went under and then I got let go. So there's different, caveat there. How did I power through that to ultimately keep going to make the money that I'm making now, which I'm thankful for? There's no guarantee I'm going to continue to make that money. That's why I'm grinding away here and hopefully helping you and motivating you to grind away. So number one, getting in the right mindset. This is what I've done for years, folks, is I've learned and I've absorbed, kind of like SpongeBob, right? He's a sponge, bad joke. But I absorbed all of this stuff, all of this info from actually successful people who have done it, people who have really emblazed a trail to where I wanted to be. So one of the first books I read is The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, entrepreneur, real estate mogul, marketing expert. That these are going to help reframe your mind into a mindfulness of success. And if you're thinking like, dude, like these are all just self-help books. This is ridiculous. I mean, that's part of the mindset. That's part of the mindset of being so cynical that you don't even believe it. You think it's BS versus giving it a chance, right? And I gave it a chance. And again, I'm listening from people who've actually done it. Anyway, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, a very popular book. Mark Manson helps you overpower and power through whatever I'm trying to say, is ignoring haters, doubters, naysayers. Now, I'm going to comment here shortly of how sometimes they might be right, the haters. So I don't want you to go through this blindly here. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, another good book. I see it in here in the live chat. Appreciate you adding that. Be Obsessed or Be Average. It's a newer book from Grant. And I love that title alone. Be obsessed or you're going to be average. Now, you don't have to be a 1% billionaire, millionaire. Dude, I'm not. This is literally the first time that I'm going to hit six figures here, folks. I'm not some rich dude living in Cali telling you to do this when I've already made tens of, no, I was making 40 a couple of years ago. But again, I'm learning from the leaders in the space, best practices here. And this is part of what helped me do it. Next, podcasts. I'm not a reader. all of the books that I've read are on audiobooks, which is fine, man. It's however you absorb the information, as long as you absorb the information. Maybe podcasts are better for you. I feature here Dropping Bombs with Brad Lee, another entrepreneur, the Ed Milet Show, another fantastic one for mindset, for business, for self-development, and then Freakonomics Radio, which is really more of an inquisitive kind of how the world works podcast. And I recommend that because it's constantly engaging my brain into how can I think? How can I better myself? Now, dude, I love music. I'm jamming to my music half of the time, but instead of 100% of the time just jamming out and listening, because again, I mean, we got to live here, dude. We got to have a good time. But the other half of the time instead, I'm listening to these kind of things. So just a few recommendations for you there. Because what happens is you can fall into kind of laziness, at least me. If I'm not hyped up sometimes, if I'm feeling down, it's rainy sometimes here in Pittsburgh, dude. If you know Pittsburgh, it's cloudy. Like it rains more than Pittsburgh than any other city in the US other than Seattle. I believe the last stat that I saw, it's like in the top 3. It's ridiculous. We got a lot of rain. So to stay in the mindset of success, sometimes I just need a little recharge. Dude, I'm not Superman here. Let's move on though. Now, whenever you are changing your mindset, and the 10X rule is fantastic. Appreciate you being here, top. You're going to hear everything under the sun from the naysayers, the doubters, the haters, because you're doing something different. You're trying something different. Like, dude, you're a plumber, man. I mean, I'm not knocking on plumbers, right? Okay. You're this, you're that, whatever. You're like 40, man. You're starting something new. Look at this. How are you going to make money from that? I mean, there's some, again, we talked about how these doubters and the naysayers are kind of right. There's some merit to some of this. Like, for instance, whenever I've been doing YouTube for 5 years. I've been doing it full time now for a year and a half. I mean, when I lost that sales job and I told my wonderful parents, I am going all in on YouTube. I'm going to do this full time. I was making maybe $900 a month from YouTube, which is good side hustle money. I can't pay my rent and my expenses with that though. And I'm going to talk about next how to roadmap this. Okay. How to prove the haters wrong. I want to talk about that next. Hey, folks, if you are getting value in this video, can you definitely do me a favor? You can hit the like button here. I do ask here and there because people join, they leave. If you haven't done it already, I know the phone's over there in the kitchen counter. You're listening on the headphone. I mean, can you just go over there real quick? Can you just drop me a like really quick? I appreciate it. But yeah, trying something new, like, hey, how are you going to make money from that? It's not very stable. You're starting something new, like now, dude, really? Wouldn't you rather try something more sustainable? And I mean, folks, this is basically like everything that I heard. I'm just kind of sharing it with you. It's probably easier to make money with blank. I remember, I mean, again, I heard, well, you're making like, I don't know, let's say I'm making 40K from YouTube or whatever, YouTube's my business. Just relate this to your own ecosystem here, folks. It doesn't have to be a YouTube channel. It can be your own business, selling, drop shipping, Etsy, a creator, selling art, whatever it is, a live streamer, use this for your own ecosystem. But I heard, well, you're working so hard and you're making like 40,000. Wouldn't it be a lot easier just to get a job and you'll get 40,000 and you don't have to work like 60 hours plus a week? And I said, I'd rather make 40,000 for myself than 40,000 working for someone else. Now, my goal, and still is 100K, frankly, it's 250K, it's 300. I mean, there's no ceiling on it, right? Don't be scared of money. Do not be scared of money. Again, this is the mindset. If 100K seems unattainable, it's always going to be unattainable because you sold yourself that it's unattainable. And again, this isn't me talking like, hey, self-development. Yeah, that sounds great, Mike. But no, seriously, because I'm proof of it, dude. Like, you can do it. I guarantee you can do it. Just reverse engineer best practices. Well, you're going to have to do blank with that. Not many people succeed with that. Well, don't you have to live in blank? Don't you have to be younger or older for that? Or what about this? When you're hitting a few road bumps, because I guarantee you, again, I had road bumps. I was doing YouTube for this entire time of getting let go, having the company go under, moving twice across country, that entire time. So there's road bumps, there's high points and low points. So whenever there's a low point, misery loves company. So you may hear, well, hey, dude, I told you that wasn't really going to work out. Or I told you, you're still on how much you're still not making that much money. Well, I kind of told you, right? You have to push through that. And again, let's engineer how you're going to actually do that. James, again, one of our team VIPs, anyone who has not done this already, Biden CARES Act is rehabilitation. Everyone with serious student problem, I expect a 700 score early of 2022. Thanks for commenting, James. Yeah, I built my credit score from those upper fives to now over 700. I'm not a big political person. I'm not sure what's available, but I do appreciate you commenting there and certainly commenting about the credit score, because that's another penalty. Again, we talked about not paying off the debts. We got to move on here though, folks. So let's show you another stat here. Data from the Bureau, there we go, my goodness, Bureau of Labor Statistics show that approximately 20% of new businesses fail during the first 2 years of being open, 45% during the first 5 years, and 65% during the first 10 years. A lot of us have heard this kind of stat about entrepreneurship, starting a new business, but I just want to show that to you because that is a very real thing. And in my opinion, a lot of them fail because they're not doing the best practices. Maybe at least 30% of them. Like for instance, if you're trying to start a new YouTube channel, you just you wing it. You're not learning from those who have done it, etc. But we talked about if you're going to do something right, you're going to try something new, you're going to ignore the haters, the naysayers, you're going to be in the right mindset to power through the struggle season, because I guarantee you, you're going to have that struggle season with the ups and downs. Or if you're on a bigger downswing, how to not just get discouraged and see the light at the end of the tunnel when you're just month one kind of sucks, month two and month three kind of sucks too. Here's how you're going to do it. If you're going to start something, you have to do it right. So what do I mean by that? So I don't want you to have the lazy failed attempts. Folks, I've had, and again, I'm in the YouTube space, so I kind of talk to you within that kind of niche here. But again, relate this to your own ecosystem, right? Whatever it is you're trying to do, sell a product, service, start a business, brick and mortar or online, affiliate income, even a side hustle, right? If you have lazy attempts, you do no research before you start, you have no plan, you don't really know the problems and the pitfalls to look after. It's a lazy attempt and you're going to fail. Again, that's why I feel like a good portion of those new startups fail, because they're not doing the real R&D. For instance, if you want to grow your money this year, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Join a team of over 54,000 because we do this. We put in the research of usually different side hustles. That's kind of my specialty here. And we do the R&D for you so you don't have lazy attempts. You don't start and not know what to look for, because that's only going to hurt you here. So when you're starting, remember, you better do it right. So you better know the following. You better know, what are the best practices and have you mastered them? Why will you outperform the market? Well, what are the market demand levels? Is there a demand for your product, service, or business? If you look at more of that BLS data that I just showed you, a lot of the big reason is there was no demand in the industry. What's the ramp up time? So, think about, there's the whole story of Amazon, how Amazon wasn't profitable for a decade plus before they exploded. Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, a lot of these gig companies are still not profitable. Will they ever be profitable? Founded in 2011, it's been 10 years. Are they at that point where they're going to start exploding, or will they go under? Will they be acquired like Postmates? Will they shutter their doors like Amazon restaurants? These things take time. There's a ramp up time. Again, folks, I did YouTube for 4 years, part-time in the background before I even really had full-time success. So you need to plan for that. And are there any startup expenses? It takes money for the mission. I've heard that here on YouTube. It takes money for the mission. So if there is a ramp up, there's going to be a ramp up time. You need money for the mission. So I love this comment. Beach Dude says, Beach Dude, I see you in here all the time. I appreciate you joining another video. Says, yeah, but Mike, you have certain skill sets that you developed that helped you become a personality. And because of the delivery model, you have been able to generate a decent revenue. I love this comment because I want to address this here. So, okay, I'm going to maybe expand on this. Well, dude, you have the personality. You have the skills, you have the equipment. And again, I'm kind of broadening your comment here. And again, I appreciate your comment here, Beach Dude. You're going to hear that. Well, I can't get started because I'm too much of an introvert. I can't get started because I don't have all the equipment. And again, relate this to your own goals here. It's not the case. It is not the case. When I first started, again, my ecosystem, my business is here on YouTube. Well, dude, you have the personality, you have the equipment, you have a following. Guess what? Everyone starts with a zero. That could be 0 followers or $0 in revenue. Everyone starts with 0. I had 0 equipment. Go ahead, search videos by oldest. I had like no equipment. I had no lighting. I had like a $5 little mini tripod that would be so top heavy with the phone. I have to prop it against books and stuff. And I certainly did not have the personality that at least can come through on video now. I developed that over time, much like, again, it all ties back into this, much like this ramp up time. It took time. It really did to strengthen all of those things. And how did I do it? Going back to our last point of being relentless, practicing, right? Just getting the reps in, doing it, learning by doing it, learning from the leaders in the space as well. You can do the same thing. I guarantee it. You can do the exact same thing if you follow these steps here. And then lastly, I mean, I've said this before because it is extremely powerful. It's not multiplying your revenue streams. You saw what happened when I did not have more revenue than my one sales job that I wasn't really great at. Didn't have a backup plan, and I didn't have enough revenue. I didn't have other revenue streams. Now, sure, I drove for side hustle gig apps, but that's an entirely active revenue stream. I'm on the road. It's not as safe being on the road for, whatever it was, 8 hours plus a day. There's a whole, vehicle depreciation, et cetera. But I needed more. I needed something else. So the next steps for you is to study this. It is to start multiplying your revenue streams, because this is my goal for you this year. It is active revenue streams and it is semi-passive revenue streams. Case in point. So this is my Amazon associates from last year. Just kidding, this year. It's 2021. So $2,200 earned in Amazon affiliate revenue. And yes, Matt stocks as well. That is also, check out my recent video on how I make $10,000 a month, Matt. I do talk about stocks in there. Yeah, that's how I diversify. I go into that much more in depth on that video. You'll like that video. So I diversified with affiliate income. And I've talked about this in other videos. We won't go into super in depth here, but it's one of the ways you can add semi-passive income. And one more point is my brother Matt on his new channel, Frunk to Trunk, Frunk, talking about his new Tesla. He has affiliate links, and his first month he earned $411 in affiliate income. Another sip of coffee there. And in his next month, because we're working on September now. Now it's still early in the month of September here, but he's trending towards not $400, but hopefully $600 in just his second month. Now, again, if you want to learn how to dominate and monetize on YouTube, and including how to convert, sell your affiliate links on YouTube, go subscribe to your Driver Mike Creates. That is a new channel talking about specifically the YouTube side of things. So, folks, these are 6 brutal signs that I really should have taken more note of here. And that's why we're talking about it. That's why we're talking about it today, because they really did affect me. And I don't want them to affect you when it comes to your money. So if you did get value in this video, definitely do me a favor and drop a like on this video. Post your questions down below in the comment section as well. I will live down there for a couple of hours for the rest of the day here, answering your questions down below in the comment section as well. And you can also click or tap screen right here for another video, as well as a video recommended for you. I'll see you in the next one.